Welcome to the MAHLE Motorsports YouTube channel. I'm Daniel, this is Justin, and today we're going to cover some information on Circlips.
Okay, so first off, in our Power Pack kit, you're going to find a bag of Circlips along with some important instructions, which we'll get into some more detail later on in the video. But the Circlip, even though small, has an extremely important job of retaining the pin inside the piston. And if not installed correctly, it can result in catastrophic failure. So at MAHLE Motorsports, we primarily use two types of clips. So first off, we've got our non-tang clip, and then here we have our tang clip for some of our higher piston speed applications. Primarily in your Power Pack kits, you're going to receive the non-tanged option.
So most of the Power Pack kits are going to come with the non-tanged option shown here. Up here, we have it installed correctly. And what we recommend at MAHLE Motorsports is to install a gap at either the 12 or 6 o'clock position on the piston. And what we're doing with this is to put it into a favorable position so that inertia at high piston speeds doesn't overcome the spring force of the Circlip.
So here we've got a tang Circlip option, and like mentioned before, the gap orientation is critical, but on the tanged option you can see it's the decision's made for you. The only thing we request is that the tang actually rests against the slope side of the dig out notch. Okay, so now that we've went over what the Circlip's job is, we're going to go over some tools that will help in installation. So first off, we do sell a tool called the lock-in tool, and they sell it as well. This is what you'll get. It's got some instructions. It actually does come with this binder clip, which is extremely helpful when installing the first Circlip. If you don't buy the tool, do recommend at least going to an office supply store and picking one of those up. This is what's inside this bag. It's just a plastic. Recommend maybe one set use, but some people can get more than that out of it. And then last but not least, just a pocket screwdriver. All right, so we're going to start off with the lock-in tool that we sell in our catalog. So to kick it off, we're going to put the binder clip inside the Circlip groove, flip it over, insert the wrist pin, take your clip, start it into the groove, hold a little pressure here, grab your lock-in tool and press in and do a twisting motion. Snap it into the groove. All right, so throw your binder clip in your opposite Circlip groove, flip it back around, throw your wrist pin in, take your clip. I'm gonna put this gap at 12, so hold some pressure against the clip into the groove. Take your screwdriver here, and you can pry, get it started, and then keep pushing it into the groove with your screwdriver until you hear it snap. All right, so we already got the one clip in. We're going to throw the other side in. I'm going to do this one by hand, or attempt to. So same deal, start in opposite the clip groove, hold pressure, roll it in, manhandle it with your thumbs. And as you can see, we're not fully seated right there. Take your screwdriver, since you're not fully seated, and just barely bump it, and it snapped right in. All right, so after you get both clips in, obviously rod's on, not for demonstration. I like to take just like a 3/8 extension and some sort of adapter that fits in the ID of your pin. Pop it in there and just bump it in both directions. And that helps ensure that the clip are seated into the groove.
Okay, so one of the things that we need to verify on installation of the Circlip is that it's actually installed properly. As you can see in this one, the edge of the Circlip is just slightly lifted out of the groove. So all you need is a screwdriver, a punch or something like O-ring pick. Any of those will work just to verify that it's in place. So just apply a little pressure on the edge that's out, and it should pop right into place. So just like that, it's seated. Proper circlip installation of the circlip into the groove is crucial to the assembly, but due to the limitations of space, this is often difficult to see in the video. Take a look at these illustrations. On the left, the clip is not fully seated into the groove and hanging on the edge of the circlip groove. When viewed from the end of the pin into the bore, this may appear that it is installed correctly. In this orientation, the circlip may be ejected from the groove as the assembly is subjected to operating forces. If the clip is ejected, the control over the wrist pin is lost and catastrophic failure will occur. On the right, the illustration demonstrates the correct installation, where the circlip is fully seated into the bottom of the groove and not resting on the edge of the circlip groove or the counterbore. The spring force of the circlip is retaining the clip into the groove and maintaining control over the pin in the piston and ensuring proper operation of the engine. So up next, we're going to go over some of the tools and tricks for removing circlips that are already in the part. So on the right, we have a simple O-ring pick. In the middle here, we have a small flat blade screwdriver. On the left here, we have a center punch that we've cut a small hook into to make this a little easier. This is the preferred tool for us. So grab a hold of the part in a way that it's supported. I'm going to place the notch underneath the circlip in the dig out notch. Be mindful that these are under spring force and can pop out once you pry, so eye protection is recommended. So with the tool placed in the part, just simply pry and roll the circlip out. Simple as that.
Okay, for removal, we're just going to use a small flat blade screwdriver. So you're going to go into your dig out notch and apply pressure. I like to put my pointer finger over to kind of capture the clip to keep it from shooting across the room, and then pop it out.
So we've covered some installation and removal tools. Now we're going to go over some tools that we do not recommend you to use. The first is a hammer or anything with excessive force, and then we also have pliers. And as you can see, there's a couple of clips here that have been damaged as a result of excess force.
We do recommend that you only install the clips. They're one-time use only. But if you do have to remove them, say you put a rod on backwards or anything and you do have to remove the clips, there is a couple of checks you need to verify to make sure you didn't damage it removing it. So as you can see, all three of these clips look pretty good from far away, but if you start looking closer, if you check this one out over top of a good clip, you can see that it is smaller and it's no longer concentric, and that definitely will affect the maximum piston speed that this clip can be subjected to. Same with this one. This one's actually twisted, and that's no longer usable either. Just as a demonstration, we've over-compressed this clip and put it into the groove. As you can see, the clip no longer is seated into the circlip groove, and it's no longer concentric with the pin or the groove. So this clip is damaged beyond use and will fail.
So we've covered some different methods, tips, and techniques for installation and removal. And this should cover everything that we have in our Power Pack catalog. But as you can see, there's a great deal of variation with the parts, such as compression height, piston diameter, wrist pin, wire diameter, and wire shape for the circlips. So there can be some variation that you need to adjust your technique for to make sure it fits the application you're working on.
And as always, we're here to help. So if you do run across any problems, reach out to us at MAHLEMotorsports.com or comment below.
in the trash